Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Noonchi Podcast. We have a very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. He is a movie reviewer. He is a YouTuber. He is on TV. He's on radio. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for 천재이승국, ladies and gentlemen. Woohoo!
Nice to see you. I'm GeniusSKLee. In English, 천재이승국 in Korean. Nice to meet you.
GeniusSKLee. So let's start with that.
Okay.
Why did you call yourself Genius?
Well, I get that a lot. In Korea, they had the title called Ho. Do you know the concept of Ho? Like, 백범 김구 선생님?
Yes.
다산 정약용? Their name's 김구, 정약용. But in front of them, they have their own name. Like the name they made for themselves. 백범 김구. So the 백범 part for 김구 is 천재 part for me. So like, I'm 이승국. When I began my YouTube channel thing, I didn't really want to use my other names for my show business. Because I might get bigger.
Yeah.
And if I get bigger, like if I go with the name Candy or something, later on, if I get famous, people are gonna call me Candy. I didn't like that.
Oh yeah.
So I want to be called with my name, but I knew that if I made my YouTube channel's name Iseunguk, no one's gonna notice it.
Smart.
So I just put something in front of it, and that word is one of my favorite words since I was like 8 or 9 years
Were you
old.
called 천재 a lot?
I call myself I actually
But that's
brainwash my
smart.
friends with like thoughts. So if I call one of my any friends without blocking my number and just say, hey, it's 천재, they know it's me.
Okay.
So yeah.
I mean, I made the mistake of my artist name is Big Phony, right?
Phony,
Yeah, and so some people don't know my real name, so they call, I don't want you to call me Big Phony. That's hey, Big Phony.
So if you had to redo your YouTube channel, would you be Big Phony Bobby Choi?
Yeah, like something like that.
Right.
To have the option to just walk away from it. And then I can just be Bobby Choi again.
Yeah. That's a
Something like
strategy
that.
I used.
Yeah. But I guess I could walk away from Big Phony too. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
So from now on,
nobody knows who Bobby Choi, like there's too many Bobby Chois out there. I feel like I'm taking away from their shine.
so from now on, should I rename my channel to 잘생긴 Danny Cho?
Yeah, because there are a lot of Danny Cho's.
Yeah.
Right? And so who are you to take up the only Danny Cho on?
But I was here first. I was here first. No, but when we like hit up guests to come to the show, I was like, hey, who is interesting that I know that speaks English? And I went, yo, this guy speaks English well. Now I never really formally met you. Like. Sure. He would pop up at a show and be like, "Oh, 잘 보고 갑니다," and he'll leave a DM and then like not even say hello. You know what I mean? Just in person.
Is that your thing? Do you do that? Like to just go in and go out?
Yeah.
I just before this show, I told him about my thing. That's my thing. Whenever I go to, even to my friend's show, I just go there without telling them.
Yeah.
And after that, on my way home, I just send them picture, and that was great show.
I'm the same. This is so weird. Are you? What's your MBTI?
Yep.
What's your MBTI?
I used to be ENFP, but now I'm ENTP.
ENTP.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm an INFP.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm the introvert. You're like the extrovert version of me.
Yeah.
But that's similar.
No, because at the show, years ago, right? There was the show where there was like maybe 10 people in the audience. It was a bad turnout. Right?
Oh.
And then the host goes, "Young." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "There's this famous YouTuber outside. Do you know him?" And I was like, "Who?" And then I went and I was like, "Oh shit, I know this guy. He interviewed The Rock." That guy. Right? Yeah. And so that's how we met digitally online.
Okay.
And then like he would pop up to the Hongdae show and I'm like, "Oh, 잘 보고 갑니다." I'm like, "Yo, if you told me you're coming, I try harder." I didn't try. I remember that day. I didn't try at all. I was just like, "What do you guys want to talk about?" I'm hungover. Right.
And he was the first one to come up.
Yeah.
Right after that, he left that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you hear about the stand-up scene or about Danny?
Oh yeah. I think the first time we DM'd each other was I found out that you followed me, or so, I don't know. I followed you first or something. So I love stand-up comedy since I was young. Since I found out what the concept of stand-up comedy is, I loved it. So I grew up watching many comedians on YouTube. And one day I watched that Korean stand-up comedy scene beginning to build up in Korea back in years ago. And there was this guy from America making jokes about his 탈모 thing.
The 탈모.
Yeah, 어디서 왔어요? 막 겨드랑이에서 왔어요. That thing. And that was how do I say that? Back then, many Korean people tried the stand-up comedy. I laughed at it. I loved it. But that was somewhat different from what I used to watch as a stand-up fan. But what that guy did was the thing I loved, the pattern and the way he builds up the comedy. I loved it. And that was Danny Cho. So since then, he was really great.
Good job, Danny. Good job.
천재 Danny Cho.
천재 Danny Cho. The great 족발집 사장님. So since then, I knew who he was and I followed him. And that's how it all began. And we DM'd each other for the right timing. And he said, I got this show on Hongdae and come whenever you want. So I went there whenever I wanted to. So that's how it all began.
But you know what it is like when it comes to people that I like, I'll be like, you don't even pay the cover. I got you. Right? But then when he does 천재이승국 style, like ninja, like I'm gonna tell you, boom, I pay for it and they leave. It makes me go, thanks, but you don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
You know what I mean? So thank you for doing that. But now enough about me. It's more about you. Okay. So I like my algorithm's all weird, and so even before I ever knew about you. This thing popped up in my algorithm, and it was years ago when you interviewed The Rock, right? So beyond that, like, how did you start from like you were a movie review critic? So my question is, you just decided, hey, I like movies, I'm going to talk about it. Like, what was the reasoning for you going, I want to do this type of format?
Oh yeah. So personally, I don't consider myself as a movie critic. I'm just a guy who likes movie and who likes talking about movies. And when I decided to do my own YouTube channel, I wasn't going to be the big movie guy. I wanted to be someone who would entertain people. That's my first goal. But I was 30 in Korean age when I began my YouTube channel. I was quite old in our society's standard. So I didn't for me to dare to start my own channel without doing nothing was quite, how do I say that, 망상? Quite fantasy enough for me at that age. So I couldn't do another daring steps. So I have to be really realistic, and I have to find my arsenal as soon as possible. So I just couldn't make up any videos that, hey, I'm 천재이승국, watch me. I couldn't do that. So the arsenal I could found was movie, because I grew up watching many movies. I loved it. And I can always talk about movies because that's what I did with my friends back then. So, and luckily, that's when those Avengers movies are coming to Korea. So that's when the second Avengers was releasing in Korea.
Oh wow!
Like around the time you started.
Wow, so it's not that long ago then.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Although second Avengers is now it's quite a while, right?
Less than 10 years.
Less than 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
But watching the first Avengers movie releasing in Korea, I learned that not many people watched the previous movies, the Iron Man, the Thor, the first Avenger, the very
wave.
first ones.
Right,
Not many people watched it. So when they go watch the Avengers, they needed some guidance.
They need some background and figure out who all these characters are.
So I actually had that memory. Like, I watched it like 2 or 3 times in theater.
Okay.
Whenever I go to the theater, I brought my friends and I just pick up any random poster, Avengers poster, and I lecture them in front of the theater. Like, he's the God of Thunder and he's the other. And I was like, okay, I got that. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
You have to know this before this movie.
Yeah.
And then after watching the movie, they all thanked me later. Like,
Yeah.
oh, because of your guide. It was really enjoyable to watch that.
Yeah.
So I had that memory. And then later on, a year or 2 later, when the Avengers 2 coming on, and I was beginning my YouTube channel, and maybe I can start with that because I know that people's gonna watch that.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I began
That's
my
smart.
whole channel.
Yeah.
Jeez. What are we, Bob? What are we doing? Why are we just talking about being ajushis? We should have been, we're not.
Well,
With the
you have
trend,
to find
man.
a common problem that most people have, not just a few people have.
Right.
And he found a problem that most people have, right? In Korea.
So
So
it's awesome.
he cornered that market because nobody else was willing to do it. And so it worked out.
Yeah, at that time,
Yeah.
nobody was doing that.
The one thing I remember about, because I watched most of the Avengers movies and the Marvel universe back in the US.
Yeah.
The last few movies I saw in Korea, right? So like Infinity War or whatever. And obviously I don't need the subtitles, but it was in the news that the subtitles were shit. Right, the Korean subtitles.
Yeah, I remember that.
So there's a scene, spoiler alert, of when Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, he's about to, be dust, and he goes, "Mother," and he goes to dust, right?
Yeah.
Now he's trying to say motherfucker, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
right? But in the subtitles it said "어머니."
Like he's longing for his mother. Like, mother, I'm going. Mother, be safe.
So people are really like, Amma.
Yeah, it should have been like "ship you,"
Yeah.
right, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Or like ni me or something. Yeah, exactly something.
Yeah. But it said "어머니," and I went,
Yeah.
yo, because I don't read it, but then I was like, I wonder what the rest of the movie was like then to miss all this stuff,
Yeah.
And so the reason why I bring that up is because you, before we rolled, you said that you never really studied English formally. You said you went to London for a bit when you were
In
younger.
England. Yeah. Not London, but
England.
someplace in England.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stayed there for 10 months when I was like 17 in Korean age, 고1. So that should be 15 or 16 in American aging system. So I went there, I stayed there. So I can say I learned English there because I attended a school there. But it was a strange school because I went there because it's called International College. And I thought I was going to study with international students. But so the first day I went there, I was quite late. So some of my pupils were there 3 days ahead of me. So I went into the school, to the dormitory when they were already adjusted to the school.
Yeah.
So I got off the car and watched the school from outside. And it was really small school. The whole students was like about 20 or 25.
Okay.
So it was really small, 시골 school.
Yeah.
I watched all of the dormitory from outside, and inside their windows, there were students studying. They have the prep time at the dinner. And somehow the colors of the hairs were all black. So I was like, okay, it's an international school, but they're all Asian from Tokyo, Beijing or something. So that not what I expected, but it's okay, it's an international school. So I went to the school, and during the break, they all came out from their room, starting speaking in their first tongue. And I can literally understand everything they said. They were all Korean.
니 어디서 왔노?
오늘 숙제 다 한 사람. What?
Oh my God.
It's called international school, and why are you guys speaking in Korean?
Man, it was a summer camp. That's what it was.
That's a terrible way to learn English.
So the teachers were English, but I didn't really use English in my daily life with my friends. So
Made it harder.
Half learned, half just picked up. While staying there.
But you know that then you really are a 천재. If you only had 10 months to learn English amongst other Koreans, that's like
I know.
you sound like native,
You can say that, and I can just say because I'm 천재. But I actually majored in English in my 대학교 years.
In 대학교. Okay.
But another funny thing is, my school was in China, and my school is science and technology college.
Okay.
So yeah, you're an English major at a science and technology.
Yeah, and the English was taught by some English American and some Chinese English professors. And what I learned there was, no offense to any of my students, any of my friends from my school, but what I learned there was Chinglish. Because all of my friends there, they spoke Chinglish.
Okay.
So yeah, I can say I got plenty of exposure to foreign language, but I cannot say that I learned English properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I told you I didn't really learn English.
I know, but you know, when we communicate, like, you know, it's all in English, you know, and I would throw in a Korean phrase here and there, but I can't type in Korean. Like it like my Korean's terrible. And that's why I always am shocked that, you know, like you Charming Joe, like they
Respond 100% in English.
Yeah, and it's not like they like lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like they just picked it up.
Right.
And I'm like, man, these motherfuckers are smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know.
I've been here 11 years, and the only way I can really type anything, my wife is Korean, and I've known her for 10 years now. We still send each other emojis. But if I really need to get something out and she won't understand it in English, I use the mic. And I say it in Korean, and it writes it out as best as possible.
Yeah, because it's your pronunciation shit.
So most of the time I read it back, I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. But I'll send it anyway, and she'll know what I'm trying to say.
That's a power of love working there.
Yeah.
He must have said this.
The other problem is, like, whenever I say anything wrong in Korean, she knows what I'm trying to say, so she doesn't like
fix it.
Yeah, she doesn't like fix what I say. So I'm not really learning anything. Yeah, so that's one thing that's like they say, if you're gonna be in another country and you want to learn the language, date a local, right? And so that's exactly what happened to me, but I didn't learn anything. I just learned how to, you know,
be more quiet.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, that really happens when you go abroad. Yeah, that happens to me when people start speaking Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, the ironic thing is, I was in my college, the Chinese college, for 4.5 years, but I mainly used Korean and English there because I majored in English and because I studied with my quite many Joseon족, Korean Chinese descendants.
Okay.
So they all speak quite fluent Korean, or at least Korean dialect, their version of Korean.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have to speak any Chinese to them.
I see.
Or whenever I tried to speak Chinese in front of them, they were like, stop there, just speak your language. I can understand this. Okay, so basically what happened to your Korean? Like nobody's gonna fix me. Nobody really wanted to listen to me speaking Chinese. Yeah, so.
Oh, but you know, like if you kept up with your English, which you did, but if you spoke Chinese, dude, you would have been megastar, man.
Yeah.
Global star.
Yeah, back then I didn't really know that speaking Chinese would be so good talent.
I know. And then, and if you spoke with Chinglish, 좀 친근감, you know? Oh shit, who is this guy? You know, like that'd have been cool. But now that you, you know, like you, whether it's by your own channel or through other like 방송국 or whatever, you go and interview like people in English only? Do you interview people in Chinese as well?
No, I dare say no. I cannot do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all in English, right?
Yeah, mostly English and some Koreans.
Do you get starstruck? Do you do you, oh my God, blah, blah, blah.
Any
do you
nerves?
nerve? Like, is there,
nervous?
who was the one that really you were stressed out about?
Well, personally, I honestly, I always do that.
Oh, really?
So like, I remember the specific, one of the akpuls that I got, that is, the actor specifically said that, oh, he's so fake, like the way he say things, the way he moves, and especially when he says he's fan of someone, he always says that to everyone. So I replied to that akpul like, bingo, 정답, that's who I am, and he deleted and ran. But I think that's the thing about me, because I told you I grew up watching many movies, grew up watching stand-up. So the 대중문화, the whole pop culture is the thing that made me who I am today.
Right.
So unless it's a new guy in the industry, I basically get the starstruck every time I interview. And basically when they do that whole press tour around the world, that means you are a mega star already.
Right.
And that means I have watched them on quite many movies. So I always get the nervous thing. So as soon as the interview began and when that person starting to answer to my first question, I get a little ease. But before that, when I throw my first question, until that, I don't really remember anything that goes on.
Okay.
Who was the nicest celebrity you interviewed? Because I'm not gonna ask who was the asshole, but like who was the nicest?
Nice. They were all nice, but I have to go. They were all nice, but I have to go with the first stars that I interviewed, because that was my first time. But they were so generous that I could go with the flow.
Right.
It was Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard for Jurassic World. This is the second movie. So they began their interview from the morning, and by the time I did my interview with them, it was after lunchtime. So it was 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Tired.
So they must have been tired. And I was the last one in that group. So clearly I can see that they were tired. But Chris Pratt, in the middle of the session, right before I did my interview, he went out to have the lunch because it was lunchtime. And me and my crew were waiting for him in the corridor. And after he get lunch, he saw us sitting in a corridor on his way to the interview room. And he realized that, there's the people who waited for me. So he kind of, off camera, he just started singing Eye of Tiger on a corridor, like bam, bam, Eye of the Tiger. And then he started giving us high five. Yeah, your time will come. He kind of cheered us up on the corridor. He was like, he's a nice guy.
And, super nice.
Yeah, he was super nice. And during the interview, Bryce Dallas Howard was sitting right next to me. Like I said, so the basic interview angle is standing this way. But by the time I did that, they switched the angle to this way. So we have to stand side by side. And right next to me was sitting Bryce Dallas Howard. And every question I threw, she gave me the nicest, overwarming response. Like, oh, really? Oh, no, not really. So anything she says, she kind of, I think she saw me quite nervous before the interview. So she, during the interview, she tried to help me with the interview.
Amazing. Very generous.
I could feel that. So I have to go with those two. They were really nice.
Wait, is Bryce Dallas Howard Ron Howard's daughter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian director these days.
Yeah.
Well, when you come up with questions too, like there are questions that are very general, I'm sure, that that they're just constantly answering, right?
Yeah.
But do you find it like, do you need to ask questions you think that other people won't ask? Is that like a big thing, like for interviewing celebrities?
Do you come up with the questions, or does the team have?
Oh no, I always come up with my questions. Yeah, I think that's the reason they hire me for any interviews, because I come up with my interview, and I actually 고민 about that one.
Yeah.
But I come to my conclusion that for my sake, I don't have to go for that exclusive questions.
Okay.
Like whenever I make questions, if it turn out to be an exclusive one, it's good. But if you go for the exclusive one, that's the same with the jokes. If you go for a great joke, it doesn't really turn out that well. But if you kind of go with your flow and what you have to say and you put your vibe in it, sometimes it turn out to be really great joke, the creative joke. So I think I try to go with that flow. Like what I'm actually curious about that person.
You stick with
career.
your own vibe.
Yeah.
You're something you're really curious about. Right. And you stick to that. That's good. Because people, for most part, the people you're interviewing and the people that are watching you interview, they know when you're being genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
and
So-
sometimes you see some. It's like clickbait.
Yeah.
Right. You ask like I mean Korean, very stereotypical, but like Korean, especially when you ask idol stuff like, are you dating someone? Like
it's
that
like-
type of clickbaitable, thing. But sometimes.
But then they'll be like, this interview is over. Look at their manager. Take off the.
Yeah.
No, because there's a kind of somewhat famous clip, right? It was the opening of one of the Twilight movies, right? And Ryan Seacrest was asking
Robert Pattinson.
about because there was rumors that him and Kristen Stewart were dating.
Oh, yeah.
So Ryan Seacrest goes, "Hey, can you tell your fans like what's going on between you and your co-host?"
Yeah.
And the PR person, Robert Pattinson's PR, nope, interview over.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, Ryan Seacrest, he's famous as a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But like the PR people were like, nope, we can't do that, blah blah blah. And clearly, that would have been beyond clickbait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that interview plus a lot like are in like top 10 most awkward celebrity interviews. If you look at that, like they play those all the time. I've seen that one.
Yeah. That's when you go for the exclusive ones. Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
That's what I try to avoid when I come up with my questions. I failed many times, but I rather try to focus on what that talent wants to say about his movie or her movie or something. Like clearly they have their issues, their career issues or something. So I dig up some of their recent interviews or past interviews and try to come up with the question that they're gonna enjoy answering.
Oh.
I think that's basically what I try to do. Sometimes I succeed in that and sometimes I fail.
Clearly you have charisma too. Like even now you're sitting here, I'm like wanting to just watch you interview Danny, maybe. Like you have this like charisma, like on camera charisma.
Woo!
Like not everybody has
the
that.
tiger.
High five.
Dun,
You got it.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, there's a high five.
Woo, woo. Your time's gonna come.
Yeah.
So this YouTube stuff launched you into doing gigs for 방송, for TV, was that your goal? Is that your goal to be? What is your goal? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a really good question because right now my goal, I always say that when you look higher, you reach like quarter of it. Does it make sense?
Okay, sure, yeah.
You reach for the star, you end up with just above
At the moon.
the moon. But basically you have to look higher for that. So I have my dream, but I also have my goal, my humble goal. My dream is to be a great entertainer of all time. That's my dream. But my goal, my goal back when I began my YouTube channel was to be on a TV show, any form of TV show, because I grew up watching TV.
Okay.
As I told you, I love pop culture. I wanted to be someone doing something for the pop culture.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and back in 2015, when I first began my channel, YouTube thing was considered to be underground movement in Korea.
Yeah.
So like the 방송국 people were like, "Oh, you guys do the interview. We don't really care about you." So the only time YouTube people go to TV channel is to be a guest of a talk show or gossip show to talk about your earnings. Like,
Right.
I did my YouTube. I earned this money. And they were like, "Oh, that's great." That's the only time we go to TV show. So I wanted to break that barrier. That's really arrogant of me, but that's what I tried to do.
Yeah.
And
you have. I mean, YouTube altogether, like a lot of the YouTube stars and the people that benefit most on YouTube, they've proven that the balance is shifting towards that culture. And so even celebrities now, the ones that are on TV are trying to be on YouTube.
And all those 방송국s that have kind of looked down on YouTube, they all have YouTube channels now.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the funny thing about So never look down on anything. So that was my first goal. I want to be on TV. with what I do on my YouTube channel. And and eventually that happened during my career years ago. And now my goals have been changed to something else. But my first goal was be on a TV. And that was my biggest goal back then.
And you achieved the TV stuff. Would you, I mean, obviously, okay, VS game, okay? You are the MC, one of the main MCs of 놀면 뭐하니?
Wow, okay.
Or VS YouTube. So you have to take one. So YouTube을 접고 놀면 뭐하니를 해? 아니면 놀면 뭐하니를 포기하고 you're gonna continue with 천재이승국.
Wow, that's a tough question.
We're all about tough questions.
Yeah, that's really good, great balance game. Because if I'm a true YouTuber, I would have to say without hesitation my YouTube channel.
Right.
But
you're not a true YouTuber.
I consider myself a good YouTuber. But if you check my channel up, the average 조회수 is not that high. So it varies. Sometimes it's a range of rap Jones goes skyrocket. But normally when I talk about my things, it's just small 조회수. So I cannot say that without hesitation. Oh, 놀면 뭐하니? No, I cannot say that. But I will reasonably and heroically, I would have to say that I will choose YouTube and get bigger and have my own show on TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
But
answer.
if you think, if you actually think about it,
잘 빠져나갔네.
but if you actually think about it, the smart way is be on 놀면 뭐하니 and make your channel again.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
it
true.
grows bigger.
Right.
If you get a star.
Two good answers.
Right. It should be 천재이승국 2 or whatever. Make another
Yeah.
one. Right.
You should do a channel. What's the opposite of 천재? Like a
Well, the
바보.
바보?
Yeah. Just do one for like where you can just,
바보이승국.
just like this. Just the whole. Like,
That's a great game.
you could just like just edit your interviews differently, where you get like just the interviewer is just like waiting for the interview maybe, and you ask a question and they just like don't answer, or it's not, I don't know.
And then the video ends as soon as the talent opens his mouth like, and then video ends.
That's it.
That's interesting. Like, but like I've seen like the way to most people, if you don't know your channel, they won't just see your recent stuff.
Yeah.
They'll filter it to most popular.
Yeah.
And then stuff like you trying to sing that song, the
장기야 one.
장기야 song.
Bang.
Yeah, that
you
one.
watched that,
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, these are like, this has nothing to do with movie related stuff. It's just him trying to sing ridiculously hard songs. Because the lyrics are just it's a tongue twister. It's a 3-minute tongue twister. And so like the concept was the actual singers are sitting behind him while he's singing. And if he messes up, then they just leave.
As soon as I mess up, he just
Yeah. So I was watching that going, oh, that's hilarious. So like the concept, the ideas to me are like, are fun. It's great, man. I mean, I can't think of that stuff. I realized that I'm just gonna speak for myself. Bobby's older than me by a lot, but then
Not
by a lot.
A lot? Okay, remember that.
Yeah. But when you say 대중문화, right, or pop or whatever's popular, like I've slowly seen me not care about following 대중문화, which is a scary part, especially for people that's doing entertainment business related stuff, right? Because
you have to be in the know.
Yeah, because if they're saying some shit and you're like, I don't know what that is, then you automatically just are kind of blocked out of that conversation.
Phase you out. You'll be phased out eventually if you don't like play the game.
But
basically.
In the beginning, it was me trying. We all talked about like when Clubhouse came, I was, oh, this is new shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking get on it. 매일 밤 네 안녕하세요. 네 깜빡깜빡하면 박수 치는 거고요. And like we were doing all this shit, right? Right?
Yeah, we actually made Clubhouse ones too. Yeah.
And then like that shit died.
Yeah.
And I went, you know what? I don't have any more energy to learn new shit. You know what I mean? And that's the part that's like scaring me because, you know, like when it comes to what I do, what you do, even what you do, like we need to know what the fuck's going on. So we have 천재이승국, GeniusSKLee here. Is there anything that is trending that you think that we might not know?
Wow.
Because I don't.
Just so you know, our ages. I'm 78년생.
Okay.
I'm 82.
So that's
I told you, fucking a lot older.
But party just 4 years ago.
존나 멀어.
Okay.
it's one Olympic.
one
Great way to count that. One Olympic.
one American president.
All right.
No, that's why like I'm like watching things like, you know, the like the hot YouTube channels in Korea right now. I'm like, I actually know who they are, but I watch it. I'm like, I don't get why this is so popular.
Oh.
You know?
Oh yeah. You can feel that way because I feel that way to some of the channels, and I don't think I can teach you anything with the new trend because I'm not a good trend follower. Like you said, I try. I think I'm half of what you are. So like, I know what trend is.
Are you saying you're 20 years old?
Bingo. Yeah. You read between the lines. That's great.
You're half our age, so
Just 5 Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not a trend follower. You're a trendsetter.
No.
You're closer to a trendsetter than we are.
I try to be. I'm not a setter, but I don't eagerly follow it. Like whenever they pops up on my algorithm, and whenever I feel like I should learn something, I do that. But I don't constantly do that because I also I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I think it's okay to say that you don't know certain trends because that's who you are. Yeah, so unless you're not blocking the trends away and willing to learn what the trend is, I think you're always okay to say you don't know about what's happening. And luckily, I have some good friends who are really, really good at following trends and actually setting the trends. And they told me what's hot these days. And I listen to them and watch them showing me things, videos, and I like some of them. I don't like some of them. But thanks to them, I got some knowledge about things that going on. And I think that's fine with me.
I think
don't
it's
dig that
the
up.
company you keep then. You know, like if you have friends and people in your circle that have their ear to the trends, the new stuff, that's actually very helpful. Me and Danny hang out with each other, so we were sending each other, hey, you remember this from 1988?
yeah. That was a good movie, bro. Very good movie.
We literally send each other old clips.
Okay. Then you guys should hang out with me sometime.
I know. I need some like, because even the comedians when they tell me stuff like, "Hyung, have you heard of this?" Bobby, have you heard of this? I mean, this is kind of in that dying too, but like in Korea, 깻잎 논쟁. Right.
깻잎 the 고기 with
So the discussion.
You know what it is.
Yeah, I know what
okay.
it is.
The discussion is all right. Let's say they're you and your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm your girlfriend's female friend.
Okay.
Right, and I have trouble. You know how
Getting one single slice of
candy.
candy.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so you trying to be chivalrous.
Yeah.
Like holds it or for
my girlfriend's friend.
Yeah. Right. Like, is that right? Is that wrong?
Can you do that?
Yeah.
That's people talk about that.
Situation. Like shit like that. Like that's something that is kind of died down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like it's a conversation about whether or not it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. It's called 깻잎 노잼.
논쟁.
The 깻잎 debate.
Yeah.
논쟁.
Yeah.
논쟁.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've heard about this.
Right.
But because it didn't interest me, I just kind of like turned away. But it is interesting. I need to talk to my wife about this.
Why?
Because I wonder if she would be upset with me if I did that to one of her friends, right?
Right.
That's the whole point, right? It's like, do you want me not touching Kenny at all unless it's between two of us?
Right.
It's basically that conversation, right?
Wow. That's
so.
That's the
You're
wisest answer that I can.
I've never met a married person before.
The response I gave you is that actually you're the only second person to say that. Like when the Gennim 논쟁 was really hot, like a couple of months ago, people tried to came up with their reasons, their logical answers, their philosophy, anything. They try to persuade everything. Whoever gives the answer, they try to persuade who's listening to their philosophy. But there was one singer in Korea, Go Young-bae. She's from band Soran. And he, on his Twitch live, he said, I think the important thing is what your girlfriend think about that act. Like it's not your philosophy. It's what your girlfriend feel about doing that. And if you haven't thought about what your girlfriend might think, that's your fault. Whatever philosophy you have, that's your fault. And I was like, that's great answer. And you only the second person to say that.
Well, I'll tell you why this person's smart, because he's thinking if he's gonna sleep on the couch or not that night. Because if I don't ask her, like it really doesn't matter what I think. It really matters what my wife thinks, because if I fuck up, then I'm sleeping on the couch. You know? So it has like everything to do with me in the end, because I don't want to sleep on the couch. I want to sleep on the bed.
My answer is 나 젓가락질 잘 못해. No, and so like this conversation led to like, okay, a little bit more hardcore.
Did people fight over it?
I mean,
it became a thing. It became a thing for a few months.
And then someone said, 새우 까줄까?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
새우.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You
For
know,
someone else.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
same situation.
yeah. Same situation. I was like, does your girlfriend's friend not have any hands? Like, what are you fucking talking about, right? You know, so like it becomes like, but these are I don't want to say trends, but like these types of topics.
Yeah.
Like YouTubers are making videos about them in Korea, like you know things like that, right? So those are the things that you know we need that I feel like we need to know some of it.
Yeah, here we are. Like this was a trend like 3 months ago, right? So 3 months later, we're talking about. We're always late to the party.
So here, I don't know if this is a trend, but here is a hot topic.
Okay.
So you know who Mike Tyson is, right?
Yeah.
So he was on a plane, and someone behind him was kind of talking shit, and apparently he threw a water bottle at Mike Tyson.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah.
Oh.
And Mike Tyson turned around and beat his ass.
Okay.
Right? Now, you know, obviously most people are going to be like, well, it's the other guy's fault for taunting him.
Yeah.
And then Mike Tyson wrote like something on social media going, social media made you guys think that talking shit to somebody is easy because you didn't get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, violence is wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But it made me smile that Mike Tyson punched somebody who attacked them. He threw water at him.
That's not cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you know, like obviously in Korea, you know, the last kind of Western thing that blew up was the slap.
Oh,
the slap. The slap.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because I feel like in Korea, more people by percentage was on Will Smith's side.
Yeah.
Than compared to back in the
is that
US.
true?
Yes.
That's true.
That's basically the
percentage-wise, it was more because of the fact of how dare you talk about someone's family.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. You
interesting.
know, because like the percentage-wise, right? Because you know, we grew up with like your mama jokes. You know what I mean? So they would make fun of our mothers.
Yeah.
You know, but
that's a no-no here.
Here,
that's no.
But you know, like
family kind of.
Yeah. That's so like a Charming Joe Charming Joe was like, how come every like English speaking person when he does like beatboxing or yodeling, like they always ask, have you done that sexually? Is that beneficial sexually for your girl? You know?
I heard that from the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I told him, this is how you would respond American style. Your mom seemed to like it.
Typical American joke.
Right. Yeah. Very mom oriented. But you do that here, if you translate it in Korean, be like, 네 엄마는 좋아하던데? That becomes like he might have to shut his shit down. You know what I mean? So like, I think the family kind of dynamic is something that's way different in terms of you go and don't go.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't keep up with it enough to know that that's the way it swung in Korea. Okay, that makes sense.
That's basically right. And especially when your wife is known to have some medical problem with your hair, that gets more sensitive in Korea.
I see.
So and interestingly, that's when I realized that I am Korean too. Like because I have some experience abroad and because I grew up watching quite many American shows and American movies, I got influenced a lot. And sometimes I think myself, okay, I'm not Kyopo. I lived in Korea for so long, but some mindset of me is somewhat different from traditional Korean people. But watching that slap and thinking for hours, I realized, I'm a Korean because I was on Will's side too. But because it was about his family and because his wife is known to have some medical condition. But 1 or 2 days later, some other Koreans who were on Chris' side wrote quite long sentences on their social media and read some of it. And it kind of really taught me about how I should see these things when it comes to violence against others. Like I specifically remember some of them said, there are reasons on court, there are reasons you handle the verbal violence and physical violence differently. There are reasons for it. And the reason we call ourselves civilized is that we don't do things just because we think about that. That's why we see ourselves as civilized beings. I read that and I agree with that. And then I realized, okay.
Yeah.
I was
I'm Korean.
Yeah,
you
I'm
thought
Korean.
that. You know how Danny knows he's Korean? Because whenever he goes back home, they say, "Go back to your country." So I'm kidding.
I think I'm Korean because I 가위 자주 눌리는데.
Oh, 가위.
Yeah. But then in America, it was like this, like, okay, you movies. He looked like Emperor Palpatine.
Okay. Wow.
You know, like white face, like.
Kawi is in English. What's that again?
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis.
Yes. Scissors.
Yeah.
No, but then so like it looked like Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
And the Kawi Gishin, and he would always tell me he's gonna kill me.
Okay.
And I can't move. And I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Does have the electricity coming out?
No. But he's like on top of my chest, just looking down at me. I'm gonna kill you, right? I'm like, oh shit. So that's what normally I saw in America. And then when I moved here and 가위 눌렸는데, it wasn't Emperor Palpatine. It was like the 한국 처녀 귀신. And I was like, oh shit.
Really? That's interesting.
I was like, oh shit. Maybe I'm turning Korean, you know? And I felt kind of like weird. And I felt so weird that she's not a 처녀 anymore. Right? Right? And when I say that, people are like, It's like, it's not even a real person, guys. All right?
Relax.
Are you uncomfortable with me having sex with a fictional person? Right? Stupid. But like, so I because I shaved my head, right? And then
but is that true though? You really see that? Like
I saw a 처녀 귀신.
You did?
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, but I didn't see the face. It was like more like just a long hair.
Maybe it's a Palpatine, the long hair.
Huh?
Maybe
It's a Palpatine.
Maybe you had sex with Palpatine, and
hey man, don't judge.
No, I don't.
Don't judge.
No, we don't judge.
I know I'm Korean because whenever I go back now, it only takes a couple days where I miss kimchi and soju and another thing is like when I'm at a Korean restaurant in the States and the soju is like
$15,
like
$15.
$15.
Yeah.
I don't without any like it just comes out. I'm just like 씨발 이거 뭐야? Like it just comes out like in Korean, and so that's how I know I'm Korean.
사장님 왜 이래요? 존나 비싸요, 사장님.
There are times that you realize, you're Korean.
But you were saying because your hair now.
No, but the Will Smith thing. It's not how I realize that most Koreans or a bigger number of Koreans are on Will Smith's side is I shaved my head. And so right after that incident, I was on stage and I go, how many of you guys are on Will Smith's side? Please applaud. More than half the room applauded. And I was like, oh shit. So then I took off my beanie and I said, 지금부터 나 불편하게 하면 싸대기 날린다. Right? Because to me, it's like, just because I feel offended or uncomfortable, it's okay to slap motherfuckers, right? And then but it was just a joke.
Yeah.
And then it was on Instagram, right? People were like, it's not the same thing. How would you like it if your wife or your girlfriend or your sister? And I'm like, dude,
relax.
Why are you going to a comedy club to be like, I'm going to analyze everything, right? My question to you is like, how do you think what we can do is like, let's say you see a movie, right? We know, especially a lot of Korean movies are like super dark, super fucked up.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's crime, there's rape.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when you see a rape scene in a movie and, Koreans, they don't complain about it. It's like, oh, they're acting. This is a script and this is acting and wow, it was beautifully dark, right?
Beautifully dark. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of Korean movies make you feel like weird afterwards, right? And then, but if I don't have a rape joke anymore, but let's say I did have a rape joke. It was a joke, right? How can you
judge
whether
how come one is art and one is I'm belittling rape? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I go to me
that.
it's from the same, like there's that movie, what is that movie? It's a French movie, Irreversible. Gaspar Noé did it, right? Where the whole movie's in reverse, right? Monica Bellucci's in it. And there is a super uncomfortable rape scene in there. Like at first I was like, oh, Monica Bellucci's hot. And then, oh, she's a beautiful actress. And then it got to a point where I was like, oh, I can't watch this anymore. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like French movies, especially Gaspar Noé, he has like really that kind of feeling. But, a lot of Korean movies make me feel kind of like most of Park Chan-wook's movies make me go, like, and when you review those or when you talk about those, given that I don't know if this is a Korean thing, but why do you think not all Korean movies, but those certain types of directors, all their movies are like that? 왜 찝찝하게 만들고? Why is it because Khan likes that shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a tough question. It's my opinion. I think, well, when it comes to today's standard, even if the raping happens in a Korean movie, people judge those movies. Like, the audience began voicing about the sins presented on a movie. You kind of get the feeling that the director's saying just saying that raping has happened. If it's just that way, people don't complain about it. But there have been some directors who try to describe what happened exactly on that raping scene, or try to present the victim as a form of art. So we have that
That's very different.
Yeah, there's a shifting of viewing the movie. That happened in movies too.
Right.
So maybe most of the movies you watch more might be from years ago. So when movies come out, those movies come out these days, people do complain about those sins because it really tells you about how the director sees the world and what the attitude of the director is about those problems. So that doesn't really happen that much these days. But some of the movies, I don't think it's going to offend anyone, but yeah, I think some of the movies that try to be dark as possible when they don't have to be is because they feel like it's art. It's art because some like from Park Chan-wook or some Bong Joon-ho, they made their name and they got big. And they made their thing. Like when you watch a movie, like you said, oh, it feels like Park Chan-wook. We see the vibe of the director. But they debuted, they debuted years ago, and they became famous like in 2003. Sardine Chuo, Old Boy thing. Yeah. They came out 2003, and quite many directors got influenced by it. And the young directors grew up watching those movies, and they have their own standard of what's good.
Yeah.
Right.
From the frame of Park Chan-wook, the Bong Joon-ho standard.
Sure.
If you make a film that feels like Park Chan-wook, it's a good movie. It goes Cannes. I think that's why what's happening to quite many directors, young directors.
I mean, it's just in general, like I think people are trying to, they've seen it work before, the envelope being pushed, right? And so they're like automatically, I need to be just as controversial or nobody's going to take my movie as seriously. There's a lot of that, I think, that going on. And when you see it becomes a genre, right? Almost like these movies that were so popular because of the violence, then people just imitate that, and that becomes a genre in itself. Right.
Oh, yeah. And adding to that thing, sometimes it's because of the violence in the movie. But if you actually watch the Old Boy and Sardine Chuo, it's not just the violence and the darkness in the movie. The movie actually is really good, storytelling wise, 연출 wise, sound wise, acting, everything's good. But with all that, they have violence in it. But quite many young director wannabes, they just watch the how to say that, the peel of it. They didn't see the core of the movie. They just see that's the vibe we have to go with it. That's the standard of the violence we go with it.
And they miss out on the storytelling. They miss out on all the pieces.
The essence of it.
So
I think that's the basic problem.
Because that's what I'm feeling with a lot of Korean movies. I don't watch a lot anymore. I used to watch a lot of Korean movies, and there was a point where I was, when I was younger, I felt like movie making Hollywood versus Korean movies there was a big gap. But like as time went on, like the gap slowly closed, right? Oh yeah, and so I was really happy about that. I was like, there's a lot of great films. But then there's some times where I go, this is formulaic. Like, there's that same, and that's just for Korea, that's for the US, but like, we as Kyopos, when we watch Korean dramas, we used to always like go, all right, so who's gonna have cancer? Who's gonna die at the end? You know what I mean? Like that was that it's a comedy. Why do we have to cry in this comedy, right? And so the last movie that I saw in the theater, a Korean movie, was 극한 직업.
Oh yeah.
And I liked it for the fact that there was no like forced moments. It was just all just punchline after punchline after punchline. It was one of those like great, refreshing. Instead of like, movies like Sunny, where you're like, oh my god, shit, why do I have to cry for this? So top 5 Korean movies and top 5 Western movies for you.
Wow. That's one of the questions I try to avoid, because there are so many movies like it's like asking you who's your best friend among your friends. Like when you're with your
not him. Like,
I'm not really good at picking top list because there are many movies, but
it all depends, right? Like
it depends.
I have different lists for like top 5 breakup songs or 5 top 5 comedies.
Because instead of asking it this way, I've heard this question asked where whose filmography would you take on a deserted island?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. So who? But you know,
based on the filmmaker, or like can it be based on the actor?
Based on the actor
Actress?
as well, right?
Okay.
Actor, actress as well.
that's great.
Yeah. And so like I went, all right, well, who? Because like I love Christopher Nolan, but he doesn't got that many movies, right? So I'm gonna be done in 3 days. I can't, you know what I mean? So who has a big ass category?
Tom Hanks. I would take all of Tom Hanks movies.
Yeah.
Because you got Forrest Gump, that's like half your stay on the island. It's like a 4-hour movie. Right?
This is not a vacation.
Yeah.
At least at least it shouldn't be dark because if you're gonna be deserted island. I just figured it out. Top 5 Hollywood movies. For me, Western movies basically is a Hollywood movie because that's what I grew up watching. I always say this: The Wrestler with Mickey
The
Rourke.
Wrestler.
Wow,
Oh,
okay.
wow. Yeah.
I loved it. And for sure, Dark Knight.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
And the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
You're gonna count that as one movie?
I give him a pass on that.
Yeah, one because you think that way about Back to the Future, right?
I think that way about Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
But Lord of the Rings, I can't just watch one of them and not watch the rest.
True.
So you get a
But
pass
if you
on
have to stick to one, I'll just go randomly because I love any of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Not the Hobbits, but the Lord of the
Me too.
Rings.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And either Roman Holiday or Notting Hill. Randomly.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because Notting Hill used to be one of my go-to local movies. I can watch it anytime, but as soon as I watch Roman Holiday by chance, I realized Notting Hill is just today's version of Roman Holiday, and more fantasy version of it.
Yeah.
Roman Holiday is more realistic, and I love it. So any random movie between Roman Holiday and Notting Hill, and now I mention it, Back to the Future, because that's great movie. That's
such a great movie.
That's great movie. I love it.
Like a lot of people say, like in a lot of people say that script of the first movie might be the perfect script written, even with the holes, even with like the time holes, like they study it in school, like in film school.
Oh, really?
Saying that it might be like it has everything,
Right.
Like there's no like. It's not slow. It perfectly comes back to the beginning. All of that. But something about that movie just like makes me happy. Yeah. You know. Although these days I tend to skip Back to the Future too, and I just go.
You like 3 better?
I like 3 better.
Okay.
Than 2.
When I was a kid, I loved 2 the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you got to see a hoverboard, and all that stuff was super cool.
Yeah.
Even the marketing, like with
Jaws 15,
all the Pepsi can, the Pepsi can and stuff at McDonald's, you can get like Back to the Future sunglasses and stuff like that. I was a kid when that movie came out, right?
That's
And
an
it was
old
just
ass movie.
Yeah.
Really old movie. Really old movie.
So I love Back to the Future.
I didn't know it was in black and white. When did they recolor it? Those,
I like those.
you know what?
choices, though.
The Wrestler was kind of like, not shocking, but it's like unique.
That's not on a lot of people.
Yeah, that's not on a, like I would have expected, like, like typical answers would be like Shawshank Redemption, right? Some people, if they want to get into that line of Dead Poet Society, or Forrest Gump,
or the Eternal Sunshine of
yeah.
I mean, for me, it also matters that the list top 5. It is like movies that I can watch over and over and over again. Like Shawshank Redemption, I love that movie, but I can't watch it over and over again. I can watch it once a year, but just the build up to the redemption is just sometimes just too much, and it's just like my worst nightmare and worst fear and that I have is going to jail for something I didn't do, right? Okay. And I'm watching that, and the whole thing, probably the reason why I love that movie so much is because there's some redemption quality. Okay. But I wouldn't put that on my top 5 to take with me on an island or something, but I would put it in top 5 like movies ever made, kind of thing.
I think the reason I chose The Wrestler is my fans know about the movie because I talk about this movie quite a lot, so they knew about it. But I that's the movie that told me what taste I have for myself.
Oh, okay.
Like his movie in general, Darren Aronofsky, like Black Swan or something. Yeah. His movie in general talks about the very darkness, the dark thing inside of you, and you don't really usually think about it. You don't really say about it, but that's there inside you. He always likes to talk about those topics. And watching The Wrestler, I was in college. I was in The Wrestler. I realized that I love stories that talk about people whom I don't agree with, but I can understand their philosophy. Does it make sense?
Sure,
so
yeah.
I don't agree with all the decision that Mick Rourke's character makes in that movie. I don't agree with anything with my ethical standard, but I can understand why he does it and the reason, every reason that makes who he is.
That's a great explanation. That's actually the same reason why I love The Office, the US version.
Yeah.
And Michael Scott is just this incredibly like difficult person to watch, but you understand him. Like I understand, like at the core of me, I've done stuff like that. Like I can be just as pathetic or just like really, really like, it's because it's human. Ultimately, you know that humans can go to that place. You might not go there yourself, but like you can understand why people can go to that place. And when directors and storytellers can actually use that and explain, like show that in a film that connects you to it, then I get it. I get the connection. I get that like impressiveness. Like I'm like, wow, I'm impressed that he actually was able to capture that part of human nature.
You definitely are able to go to that place.
Me?
Yeah.
That dark place,
like the Michael Scott place.
Really? I've done some stupid shit.
Yeah. He paid Chunse on that place. He's been there for a while. I don't know. My favorite movies are, I think it's more nostalgia. I mean, not favorite, but like stuff that I would take that I can watch over and over again. But they're not like amazing movies. It's like Rocky 1 through 4.
That's it. Those are amazing
1
movies.
through 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck 5 and everything else, but 1 through 4 is something that I can sit down and watch. Like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I can watch like over and over again. You know, like just like not I don't want to say mindless, but it's just I'm entertained. Like if you watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, they're like 3.5 hours
really long
each.
Yeah.
So you're spending 9-10 hours to watch the whole damn series, right?
Yeah.
And I've done it. I sat down and I ordered a pizza twice. and
Twice,
and watched the whole 3, right? The Rocky series that
why not 5 though? That's the one with Drago and
no, that's the 4.
Is that 4?
Yeah, 5 is the one with Tommy Morrison.
Tommy Gunn,
where he fights in the street. Only in America.
Oh yeah, that one.
I've watched it.
I hate that one.
Yeah.
And then like a movie that I can watch over and over again, and I don't know why. It's weird. When I tell Korean people I like this movie, they're like, why do you like that movie? It's 주유소 습격 사건 and 국제시장.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, those two I can watch over and over again.
I can understand the 주유소 습격 사건 part. That's a great comedic movie in Korea.
Yeah.
But 국제시장 is the movie where people feel like, oh, why does this movie force me to cry?
Yeah.
But you said that you don't like those.
I don't like those movies but I think it was the memory of I watched it in a theater in Koreatown, LA.
Yeah.
And it was filled with ajumas of that generation.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a sad part, like you just, you know, a sad part in the movie theater, you just hear a little sniffle, right? I heard like throughout the whole, like everybody was crying in that thing. And it was that part where and it's fucking terrible acting too, where the Korean, the sister, brother, why did you leave me? 거기 뭐 점 있는데 I have 점 right here. And it was like really bad acting, but it just, everyone cried. I cried, and I was like, you know what? We've talked about this before. Every now and again, we need to cry. And so we have separate movies or 동영상 that will make us cry to cleanse our soul.
Yeah.
Right.
Agree.
Yeah. So those are the movies that I would take to the deserted island.
That's great.
Yeah.
A good mix. Yeah. Oh, you need something. You need a tearjerker.
Yeah.
You need like a feel good movie.
Yeah.
And maybe a dark film just to balance it out.
Yeah.
I guess.
But not like $1 Million Baby. Like that movie bummed me out.
I would also throw in maybe like a Marvel movie. I like Marvel movies too.
Yeah.
Like as much as, you know, people don't call that cinema. Or I don't know, Martin Scorsese doesn't call it cinema.
But that's
it's entertaining.
They're great entertainment.
That's movie conde shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like back in my day, we made, you know, and look at I love Scorsese, but I wouldn't take his movies on a deserted island.
He does have some amazing movies.
Yeah. Well, he will also, he's good with that. He will bring his movie to the dial. So
would he bring his own movie?
We don't have to bring his,
Well, wow, we already went over an hour.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. No, this was fun. I mean, you know, there are certain things, like the answer about why you like Darren Aronofsky movies is actually, I never thought of that kind of answer of why I would like something. And it makes me kind of think back to movies that I kind of liked that I was like, is that why I like that shit? Like it was a very, very deep answer, man. God damn.
Wow.
Here we are talking about like, here I am talking on stage about like fucking dick jokes and 동사는거 and fucking. I gotta change my life, bro.
If you ever get to interview Darren Aronofsky, you can ask him what 5 films would you take to a deserted island.
I will. It'll be fun if he said Martin Scorsese movie.
There's a Korean movie called Ode to My Father, and I'd be like, I knew it. Man. Yeah. Well, thank you for being a guest, agreeing to do this. And is there anything you want to plug? We're gonna put your your social media accounts on the description and stuff. But is there anything
you want to plug to about 100 people?
Yeah.
So.
I'm not getting that expression. What do you mean by plugging?
Plug means like 홍보. Anything you wanna.
No, not really.
100명 앞에 나는 할 필요 없어요.
No. That's my thing. Whenever I go to, so my philosophy or my goal is to have fun life. So whenever I go to other shows, my friends' shows as a guest, I don't really care about any plugging things. I just go there to have great time.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Thank you for having me, and it was really, really great to be here.
Thank you seriously for having us. We're glad we taught you what plugging means.
Yeah, plugging.
I learned something.
Okay, cool. Please, anytime, we'd love to have you back too. And if you ever do a podcast, please think of us. Maybe we'll try to find you some good guests.
No, I was actually thinking of inviting, because I didn't knew about you, but I actually was gonna ask Danny to come on my YouTube channel, because I told you I love stand-up comedy, and I actually wanted to know how the stand-up comedy works and how the comedians come up with their lines.
Yeah,
I actually wanted to ask him about that.
You should
guys
have
always
him,
welcome to my channel, and I'm always welcome for your invitation to come back to here.
Oh, thank you. You heard it here.
Alright,
So,
그럼 다음 주에는 또 저녁.
Okay, 시간 보여줄게요. Okay.
all right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.